Oh, hey, didn't see you there. I was just shotgunning. It's me, your favorite libertarian. Obviously, it's me. And this is your favorite shotgun, the Beretta 1301 Tactical Shotgun. If you have not seen any of my other videos on this shotgun, be sure to check it out up here, part of the Tactical Shotguns for Home Defense series. This is what I am rocking currently for my home defense setup. Man, I would not want to be the person trying to break into my house. In this video, we are going to be covering a lot of information on the Chisel Machining folding stock right here, so stay tuned for that. I'm going to have timestamps in this video, which I don't normally do, but I think this video, because it has so much information in it and is kind of a long video, it's probably going to be about 30 minutes. I want to make sure you guys can get to the information that you care about the most. In this video, however, we are going to be covering a lot of information such as what comes in the box, everyone's favorite portion of the video. We'll also go over the different options that you have for stocks out there. Some of the common options like the OEM stock that you get with the shotgun, the LTT tactical kit that you've seen in previous videos, up here, and also the Chisel Machining folding stock. We'll talk about ease of adjustability, the range of adjustability, shooting performance on the range, also the ergonomics of all the different setups, and the optics placement and how that affects the shootability, the ease of use, etc. I've had a lot of time to play with this, being one of the reviewers that took some time with this setup to really figure it out and see what I like and don't like. So you're also going to get my pros and my cons. One thing to note, just so you guys know, for full transparency, I was sent this stock for review, but as you know, I am loyal to you guys, the viewers, and I am going to say some things not nice about this stock because there are obviously pros and cons to everything, and I'm going to let you know what those are based on my use cases, my experiences with this stock, testing it out in a lot of different ways. Two last things before we get into the video. One is that I take prayer requests, so if you have any of those, put them in the comment section below. Or if you want a more private setting to do so in, you can DM me on Instagram. Lastly is that I have a link in the pinned comment in the description. If you want to help continue the content we're doing here, then just by shopping with those links and using those discount codes, you'll be helping to further the channel into more people's feeds and help spread the message of freedom and preparedness. If you feel so led to do that, I appreciate it and thank you. Now with no further ado, let's get on to the actual video. And now it's time for everyone's favorite portion of the video, what's in the box. This is the portion of the video where I show you what's in the box. Let's open it up and see what's inside, shall we? All right, I should note that I already took all the packaging out so you can see everything in the box, but it was packaged really well. Don't worry, your stuff's gonna be fine. We have a sticker right here. It's an installation video QR code. I would like to see a physical manual or a physical instruction guide as well, but that's what you get. Oh, I should also note, I'm gonna be showing you how to install this anyway in this video, so you don't even need that QR code. All right, so here is a sticker, and here's another sticker. Next up, we have the K2 grip. This is included. It fits right there, and you can put any AR-15 grip you want on the stock, but it includes this one, which is already on some of my other ARs, so I'm very familiar with it, and I like the storage feature. We also have some Loctite, so it is provided. It's the blue thread locker, as a lot of these things require screws, and with the recoil of 12 gauge, you don't want anything walking out, so it's nice that they provide this. A shotgun card. So if you want to have additional shotgun shells on the other side of this stock, the side opposite of the cheek pad, you can do so. Comes with everything you need to install it, and I'll show you how to do that in this video as well. You also have mounting hardware, so you can attach this actually to your 1301. Features. Now let's talk about the stock itself. I'm gonna show you it real briefly, and then we'll get into it in great detail later in the video. This is the folding stock itself. It's beautiful. You have the Kickies butt pad. You also have the Kickies padding to put on right here. It's packaged separately so it doesn't get damaged. The stock itself, though, has a bunch of QD holes. You can remove these QDs and put them wherever you want on either side, so that's cool. And of course you have the folding mechanism, and it looks like they put a little bit of oil or something there to keep it nice and lubricated for you so you can fold with ease. You also have the top RMR plate right here, but this, as you can see, is removable. So keep an eye out for other Optics plates that will be coming shortly. And I believe Kickies is also planning on developing something for chisel machining that will cover this if you don't want to run an Optic at all here. But I am definitely going to be testing this out and seeing how everything works with an Optic on the stock itself. So again, just keep watching the video. You're going to like it. Let's now go to the other parts of the video that I've edited together to make it look very seamless. Comparisons. Let's talk adjustability for these stocks, starting with the least of these, the 1301 Tactical OEM stock that comes with it. This is probably the worst as far as adjustability goes, ease of adjustability and the range of adjustability, but let's talk about it real quick. So we have kind of the standard to then improve upon later in the video with the better options. First, let's talk about the cheek height adjustment. You'd think that there isn't one, but technically there is. You can change out a little spacer in here, flip it upside down or right side up, depending on what you think is upside down or right side up. It's thicker on one end, so it does technically change it just ever so slightly, but not enough to do anything because you still can't see the ghost ring sights. Moving on. Next up is going to be your length of pull adjustment. And if we take out our tape measure here, we can see that with the spacer in here, minus the spacer, so let's just do the math. Right now it's 12.5. This is a 1/2 inch spacer, so it goes from 12 inches, the shortest it can be, to, with this 1 inch spacer added, a total of 13.5 inches. So that's the length of pull that you can adjust. And I should also note, as far as ease of use in making these adjustments, you have to take the entire stock off of the shotgun to switch the orientation of this spacer to adjust the height for your cheek. And you have to take these super long screws out of here to take the butt pad off and adjust the length of pull. So neither are great, which is why we're talking about the other options right now. All right, you guys are probably familiar with this stock. This is the SGA stock from Magpul. It's part of the LTT kit with some adapters that come with the forend and this stock here. If you want to watch that video, you can see it up here or up here. It'll answer all your questions, including how I got this color. Now let's talk about the stock itself. This is one of the adapter pieces for the cheek height. We also have another one here. And then there's one that I actually had Cerakoted the same color as this that is flush fitting. So anywhere from 0 adjustment to 1 inch. This is a 1/2 inch and this is a full inch. The downside is that you have to actually buy these pieces separately. They don't come with the kit, so that's just something to keep in mind. It's going to be an additional cost. If you do want to pick these up for your SGA stock, you can click on the link in the description. It'll take you to all the links for the Magpul stuff and also for the LTT stuff. Now let's talk about length of pull adjustment for the SGA stock. There is one thing that you have to keep in mind when you're talking length of pull adjustment. This piece here that is kind of flared out here that connects to the butt pad, this has to be here. You can't just have the butt pad and have it go right up to here, because this piece is what holds that plastic piece that slides in and out to let you change your adjustment just by sliding these little pieces or spacers off. 4 pieces total. There's only 3 in here right now for my length of pull, but there's an additional piece here that can be added. So we're just going to add a 1/2 inch because these are all 1/2 inch spacers to what we have it configured at now. So we're looking 13 inches. So 13.5 inches is what the total length of pull can be. So 11.25 is what we're looking at for the shortest it could possibly be. And again, I explained why with this piece here. Now, as far as ease of adjustability, to take this cheek piece off, you have to take this whole piece off, and then it kind of like comes up like this and you can pop it out. You put a new one in, drop it down. Not super hard. You don't have to take the entire stock off like the previous stock. If you want to easily remove these spacers, you just unscrew this, pull that out, and then you can slide this whole thing off and just kind of slide the little spacers off one by one, however many you need, and slide it back on. Without even putting this back in, you can figure out what length of pull works best for you, and I really like that feature about it. All right, we have the chisel machining stock in pieces just so you can see how everything works, goes together and adjusts. because when you have this all assembled, you have everything screwed in, which may be a pro or a con to assembly, but I'll let you decide. Let's first start with the cheek height adjustment. We'll call this 1.25 inches, maybe slightly higher than you can the SGA stock, but not much. Now let's talk about the adjustment for length. As you can see here, there's a ton of little micro adjustments that you can make here. Now, in terms of practically how far you can go, as far as the shortest length pull you can have would be this, and this is completely flush fitting, which is actually looks pretty cool. So let's start from the top here. We're looking at, say, 11 inches even. This is your total length of pull adjustment if you have 2 screws in here, which would be 13 inches even. Assembly and installation. All right, let's talk about how you can adjust the butt pad height, which is something that you can't do in any of the other stock. You have 3 pieces to it. You have the Kickies butt pad. That's going to be all your shock absorption and your nice cushy feeling with the hard piece here. This is going to attach here and here in these 2 holes. So we'll move this out of the way so we can see where the magic happens, so to speak. We have these 4 holes here, and we have this range here that this can go up or down. That is 2 inches higher than it would normally be. So for adjustment, if you have your cheek piece higher up and you want your cushion of your butt pad to be the same height, you can absolutely do that. So that's super cool. Then if you want to go way lower for some reason and not have it completely lined up like normal, you can go as low as 1.25 inches lower than you would normally have it. We may or may not play with the height just based on where we put the cheek piece, but it's cool that you have that adjustability in the butt pad itself. Another cool thing about this stock is that you have removable QDs, and I'll show you just how easy it is to remove these QDs. So I'm going to start with this one right here. Just take a 1/4 inch Allen key, put it in here. It has the flats for it. Just unscrew this. There you go. That is what it looks like on the inside. Then you're just gonna move it to where you want it. And in my case, I want it up here on the other side because I'm right-handed. Tighten it down. And then you have your QD on the other side. Now I'm going to tighten this down so I have the correct length of pull. And this is just for dry fitting. Obviously, if you are installing this to start using it on your shotgun, you are gonna want to use some blue Loctite, which they provide. All right, so I've put the 2 screws in. All right, so now all I'm gonna do is just put these other screws back in, along with the spacers. You have 2 spacers here. So, the spacers go here and here. The screws go here and here. What's cool about the way that this adjusts is that you can actually cant it this way or this way if you want to. Obviously, you can put this at any angle you want. I'm gonna put it flat just to see how that feels, but pretty cool. All right, now I'm gonna show you how to install this plate here so that we can run our 5 shot shell holder. Here is your plate. This plate has 2 holes here that have a little bit of wiggle room so you can position it exactly where you want, and there's also kind of like a top and a bottom way to do this. This way is gonna be more flush fitting with the top of your stock right here. Flipping it upside down this way is going to be a little bit higher than the top here. So depending on how you want to do it, you'll also want to make sure however you decide to set this up, you know in advance before putting the Velcro on. So let's say if I wanted to do it like so that it's butting right up to the stock here, I'd have to put the Velcro on this side. Otherwise, it's not really going to work. The reason that I didn't do it that way is because I have the QD here. So depending on where your QD is also going to depend on where you place this. And I'm actually going to opt to have it like so that way I can still get to my QD. And it's a little bit further forward, so as I'm reaching for the shells, I'm not having to reach as far back. In order to make sure that the 3M adhesive sticks really well to this metal surface, I first degreased it, and then I put it in between a book, kind of in the middle of all the pages of a thick book. I then sandwiched that in between a bunch of Rep Fitness bumper plates. So a lot of weight on it, overnight. I don't think it's going anywhere. One thing that I'm kind of concerned about is that this screw right here is cracked right here. And I don't know how that happened, but I'll probably have to reach out to Chisel Machining. All right, so fast forward to this being installed. I'll give you a quick story just so you understand the customer service levels at Chisel Machining. I reached out about the issue with the chipped head and also these being like super, super tight, and I was worried I was gonna strip something if I kept going. I got a phone call probably within 5 minutes from Chad of Chisel Machining. He asked me some questions, gave me the specs on these screws. So if I wanted to just go to the hardware store for like 50 cents and replace them, I could. And he also told me to try the other side, same holes on the other side of the stock, to see if they were in fact the right holes, they were in fact the right size, etc. These went in super easily by hand. I was able to thread these on, so I knew at least the hole was the right size. He said what he thinks might have happened, and this is the first ever email he's gotten about this, but what he thinks happened is in the machining process, in the tapping process, they tap from one end and go through to the other side. This being the tail end of that tapping process, it could have had a little burr or something from that process, and that was kind of snagging it up or making it a little bit tighter on the ends here. Once I knew that, once I knew at least that the holes were the right size, the hardware was the right size, I was confident enough to power through that level of tightness at the beginning. And after that, it went pretty smoothly. So that was cool. Great customer service, super quick response time. I was very impressed with that. And now we have this installed. Terrific. Rattle can time. Here's the spray paint that I used, both camouflage Rust-Oleum. This one is the 2x ultra cover version, but flat khaki to get that base to kind of lighten up this dark green. This is a deep forest green. There's the SKU or barcode or whatever you want on the back there if you want to match these colors exactly. There's the flat khaki. And this, I actually used the flat khaki first to lighten up this green because I knew that this green by itself was going to be too dark, especially on a black stock. So the khaki lightened things up a little bit. Just did one coat of that, and then I did a coat of the deep forest green. And this is how it turned out. All right, we got through paint and we made it to the installation stage, attaching the stock to your Beretta 1301. Yay! So there's two pieces to connect this. One thing to note, you definitely don't want to have your grip on because then you won't be able to access any of this stuff. So make sure you don't put everything all together just yet. Here is what is going to attach right here in your shotgun. And you can see I had previous stocks. So there's a little bit of Loctite in there, but it's fine. I don't mind as long as you don't. And then we have the threads here. So we're going to put some blue Loctite on these threads. Ooh, that's good. Okay. So now we're going to take this and we're going to install it on the back end in this hole right here. Now to tighten this, we're going to take an adjustable crescent wrench. There are flats right here. Just make sure you clear this little nub here so that you're not accidentally bending it or anything while you're tightening it. You don't want to over tighten either, so just go as snug as feels right to you. Now that we have this attached, we are going to feed this through this hole, just how you would imagine it would go, like that. We're going to also put some blue Loctite on the threads of this piece here so that when we put it through this hole and it goes into that, it all stays together. Shotgun recoil, you know how that goes. That's really all you need right there. Really the easiest way to do this, if you're doing this in real life and not for a YouTube video, is to have this upright, maybe clamp it down between your legs, put this on top so gravity's helping to keep it all in one place, put this through the top of it and screw it down. So I'm probably gonna do that right now. Boop, all done. Now we have this Loctited into the gun itself. We have this piece here Loctited as well through those threads. So this isn't going anywhere. I also Loctited the two bolts here and here. So this isn't gonna go anywhere, but in the future, if I do wanna swap this out, I can remove this, take this plate off, I can put a different plate on, and then I can run a different type of optic. Also, I have the threads Loctited for what is attaching this folder onto the stock itself. And I'll probably go through and I'll Loctite all the little bolts, all the fasteners, all along this after I put this on and see how length of pull feels and all that stuff goes. Once all my adjustments are made, I'm going to Loctite all the rest of the screws on this. All right, now we're going to install our grip. This is the MOE K2 grip. It's not the Plus, but it does feel a little tacky after spray painting it. We also have this guy here. It already has some Magpul Loctite type material, so I don't have to worry about that. And voila, it's all tightened down. You definitely have to push this in. It's a really tight fit. I actually use the weight of the shotgun and my body on the table to push this in all the way, especially after spray painting it. It's even tighter. So something to note on that. It might be a snug fit for you, just getting this on before you can screw it in. I did double check the length of these screws to make sure they'd go all the way in. One thing that's really nice about this plate, it has really, really deep machining. So when we put these super long screws in, they'll actually stay in, which is awesome. Line these up, which is pretty easy because it has the little nibs. And then I'm going to get these ready. Where's my tool? Ah, here it is. See if I can do this, hold it, and do it all at the same time while filming. Just to balance just right. Oh, success. Get this one a little snug. We'll start on the other one. Well, this is going quite well. The nice thing about the tool that's provided by Holosun, it has the plastic wing, so once it starts bending, you know that you're at torque spec. It won't let you go any further than that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to witness mark these. As I've been witness marking all the screws that I've been attaching, I'm going to witness mark these. And I'm just using a Sharpie paint pen. All right, there we go. So now you can see head of the screw, and that line right there. So we can always double check and make sure that nothing's walking out. If all of a sudden our zero is way off and we look at this and these aren't aligned, we know why.
Range performance.
For these range trips, I'm shooting at 25 yards, I am shooting slugs, and I'm having a lot of fun. This first setup, the LTT setup, I noticed that it was a little bit harder for me to find the red dot when I was bringing it up to my cheek. I also noticed, speaking of my cheek, that it was not as comfortable on my cheek to shoot. And I did notice a little bit more recoil than with the Chisel machining stock. And now for the Chisel machining stock at the same distance, 25 yards, with the same hollow point Federal slugs. I noticed a couple things in comparison to the other stock. This Chisel machining stock is very comfy compared to the other one. Of course, a nice thick butt pad helps with that, and the Kicky's butt pad does a great job at reducing the felt recoil, but also the padding on the cheek riser itself really makes it comfy. Whoa! I also noticed that this was a lot easier to shoulder and get on target with. The way that your cheek and your eyeball and the optic and the iron sights and the bore of the shotgun are aligned or close to aligning really makes it a lot more natural to get behind this gun and control a lot more, at least in my opinion. For my style of shooting, I'm used to shooting clays in the air, and this reminded me a lot of using my 930 JM Pro Series tactical class, just burying my cheek into it, bringing it up, and having that front bead right there. So that was super cool. For those of you that want the nitty-gritty details, you really want to see that side-by-side comparison, both shotguns at the same time, I'm sorry, this is actually the same shotgun at the same time. I noticed that with the stock on the bottom, the LTT SGA Magpul stock, that the butt pad was angled slightly, and I don't know for sure, but that may have contributed to a little bit more muzzle climb when shooting that shotgun as opposed to the Chisel machining, which is more up and down vertical butt pad, as you see in the picture. I also noticed that just the ergonomics of the Chisel machining stock did feel more natural to me. The pistol grip I'm very used to with using ARs. Line of sight for both of these shotgun setups. I will note that the bottom one is a Holosun 507C with the provided from Holosun in the box pick rail adapter, so you can directly mount it to a pick rail. That is going to raise the height a little bit, and you'll see in a video right after this, first person POV or looking through the sights kind of setup in the video that you can only see the red dot. You cannot see your irons at all. And that is maybe problematic if your red dot fails, if the batteries run out, something like that happens. You don't have the ability to access your iron sights without getting a tool and removing the red dot from the pick rail. So that is something that is unfortunate. As you can see, it also brings your head up higher to be able to see through that sight, and there's a little bit more height over bore adjustment because you're not as close to the bore of the shotgun with your sighting system as you are on the top picture, which is the Chisel machining setup. Pros and cons. Let's talk about the cons of this setup here. All right, so the biggest ones are going to be around the folding mechanism, which is ironic because most people are buying this because they want a shotgun stock that folds. The first thing is going to be just the way that the mechanism works. It is not intuitive at all. The best way I found to do it is point the shotgun down, provided obviously it's a safe direction, pointing it down. Right now I'm just pointing it at concrete, so I think we're good. Taking my thumb, pushing that way on the base of the folding mechanism, and then leaning the shotgun a little bit that way so that the weight of the stock helps it fold. It's the best way I found to do it, so I'm going to do that. And there we go. It's folded. Not intuitive. Most shotguns that have folding stocks have a button on top. You just do that, flip it, and then, you know, regardless of where you're pointing your shotgun, you can fold the stock. So I think that was something that I found that was kind of weird about the folding mechanism. I thought, why is this so hard to do? The other thing that I noticed after folding it was obviously running this side saddle. It doesn't fit flush. It doesn't have like this kind of an angle, so it's going to take up more space in a bag or anywhere that you're going to be storing it because they didn't really have any offset to allow for this to kind of go parallel to the side saddle. And most people that are running a shotgun like this are going to be running a side saddle for a couple of reasons. One, obviously, you have the shorter distance from where you're loading and pulling these shells out to where you put the shells in either regard. Then back here. Let's talk about back here. There is a side saddle that came with this particular kit that they sent over so I could show like all the different things, right? I took it off. And for me, I took it off because one, it didn't hold as many shells. It was like a 5 shell holder. I have a 7 shell holder here, which would kind of hang off the ends of that plate, which probably wouldn't lead to great retention of those shot shells under recoil. Also, I noticed that it was rubbing my forearm a lot when I was dry firing and doing stuff like that, and under recoil would have been even more of an issue for me. You can get the side saddle, and I guess the pro of the side saddle is it takes the weight of these shells, puts them back here, so it's maybe a little bit more balanced, but I'm already running a shotgun. I'm okay with weight. It's something you can have or not have, so is it really a con? You could just order it without the stock and then save some money and be under $500 if you didn't have the side saddle on there. And then obviously you could just run a traditional side saddle. Let's talk about the reversing of this folding mechanism. You can have it flip this way like I showed you already, or I'll also roll in some footage of me folding it the other way. Why would you want to fold it the other way? Well, if you wanted it to flush fold, that might be a reason why. Also, it would take that mechanism that you would press and put it on top. So it would be easier to actuate the folding mechanism, and you could still run your side saddle and kind of have everything more flush in folding. The problem with folding this the other way is that you're gonna rub your knuckle a ton on that little corner of the stock, and under recoil, that would hurt a lot more. And then you also, at least with my length of pull, having a longer length of pull, the longest I can, this is maxed out for length of pull, is that it rubs on and catches on the charging handle. So this is just the plastic charging handle that comes with the shotgun. If you have an aftermarket charging handle, it's gonna be even bigger, and you're probably gonna have even more of an issue of rubbing and it just generally not folding all the way because that charging handle's in the way. Depending on how high you have the cheek riser, you might not be able to even rack or cycle the shotgun and shoot it while folded because that cheek pad could potentially get in the way of the charging handle. So obviously that could be an issue as well. So I'd recommend, if you are running this shotgun and you're right-handed, have it fold to the side saddle side. Final thoughts. So my final thoughts on this are more like initial thoughts because I'm going to be doing a lot more shooting with this shotgun. And this is the final configuration it's going to be in. I'm not changing the stock back to the SGA Magpul stock. So that should tell you something about what I think about this stock. As far as the way that I use it, and that's kind of how I'm viewing this through the lens of how I use this shotgun. This is a home defense shotgun. It can go out to distance with slugs. You can absolutely do that. But this primarily for me is for home defense. So I really like the fact that it folds because this is how I'm staging it. I'm staging it flat. I'm not gonna say where I'm staging it, but I'm staging it flat like this. And then I am picking it up and having it open, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. So this is ideal for me. And then also, as far as the ergonomics go and being able to use this red dot where it is, it's perfect. It reminds me of having shot a lot of traditional style shotguns, bead front sight shotguns, when I was on the skeet and trap team in high school, and all of the avid shotgun enjoying that I do on a regular basis. It is very familiar to just bring it up and have the dot right there, have the sights right there. Super intuitive, which is something that you want in a defensive platform. And that is awesome. So I really like this. I also like that you can move the QDs wherever you want. And if I am gonna run a sling with this, it's gonna be really easy to do. So that's cool. Also, you have the ability to run like a single point sling because you have the points here and here, which is cool. So as far as how this is set up, I'm not gonna change a thing. If you do wanna know kind of what's on this, just to give you an update, because it's been a while since we've done content on this particular shotgun. Starting from the front, we have the Polytac X by Streamlight, 600 lumens, full review on this. Also the Arson Machine Co. mount, 1-inch mount, video on that as well. The LTT Tactical 4-end, that was part of the LTT kit by Langdon Tactical. Cerakoted foliage green, Magpul foliage green by Odinworks. We have the Grim Hunter Tactical 7-round shotgun card. This one has the pull tab, which I prefer to the paracord tab. You can get either, but that's the one that I got sent along with this one. This is the paracord one, but obviously the mic's holding onto the paracord, so you can't see it. But these are awesome. I'll probably do a review on them specifically, and I think they also have solved the Velcro peeling up issue that I had with the shotgun as well, because they're way more rigid than the S-Tacs. So can't say enough good things about this. I was sent this particular set of shotgun cards for review, which will be a separate video. I just wanna make sure you guys are aware of that, but I have no link for them, so there's no kickback or anything. Just go to their website and buy them if you want them. But I really like them. All right, so moving down, we obviously have the stock that we talked about. And then this is the 507CX2 by HoloSun. It's an RMR footprint. And that is pretty much it for the shotgun. Now let's talk about what I'm wearing. Behold my drip. All right, so we'll start out with the Woodland Camo, or the M81. This is from Emerson Gear. This is their Crye Precision Gen 3 knockoff stuff for the BDUs. So we have the knee pads, the articulation in the pants, the adjustment for the pants, adjustment for the sleeves, for the top, and this is essentially what I'm wearing today. But I'm actually going to be doing a full camo series, just testing out different camos in my environment. I get all the seasons here, so I'm going to be doing Woodland, obviously. I'll be doing Multicam Tropic, Multicam, and probably some other weird ones. So if you guys have anything you want to send me to test out, or if you're a gear company and you want to send like some gear that matches those camo patterns or BDUs or whatever, I'd love to test those out, so let me know. You can message me on Instagram, DM me. But either way, this is going to be part of that series, and this is from Emerson Gear, and they're just an airsoft company that is making a copy that's way less expensive, and so far works really well. So I guess we'll see in long-term testing, but that's what I'm wearing today. I also have the Ultima the Ultima Rapid Assaults. These are the mid-height boot, but they're really more like Chuck Taylors, but way more comfortable, in Ranger Green, or actually OD Green. And then the plate carrier setup. Let's talk about that because I'm sure there's a lot of questions on this. So as far as the plate carrier itself, this is a Defense Mechanisms MEP C. It's their Gen 1 MEP C. I'm looking into getting a Gen 2 of their plate carrier setup. There are some cool enhancements, and I'll do a comparison video between the two. Also have their pads, their shoulder pads in M81, and I just got those actually. And then as far as the shot shells, S-Tac for all the Ranger green ones, and then Grim Hunter Tactical for the top one. This is set up in a functional way where I can actually reload off of this, and I did do that at the range. Krydex dangler, it's basically a copy of a Spiritus Systems SAC, and it's also in Ranger green. And this has just like medical stuff in it, and also Sharpie stuff for the range, that sort of thing. So that is all of it. And then on the back, I have my patch, We the People patch, because that's who I am and that's what I'm about. I also have a mech belt inner belt from Defense Mechanisms. And that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys liked the video. If you do, be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Double check, make sure you're liked and subscribed, because sometimes YouTube likes to undo that for channels like this. And if you haven't yet, check out my website, yourfavoritelibertarian.com. We're working on that, adding new links every day. And we'll maybe eventually have some merch on there. So I guess stay tuned for that. Either way though, thanks for watching. And as always, stay free and God bless.
What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah? Make all the demons quiet, yeah.